Hey everyone, I wanted to give a 1 year in-ish update about my time having my Steam Deck here. And it's been an interesting year insofar as how much use or not that I've gotten out of it and what I've really done and really just my overall thoughts and feelings with having the Steam Deck. And it's really a handy portable PC gaming device. It's just, was it really what I was looking for? How was this overall as a Valve's first time out with one of these types of devices? Just kind of my general feeling. And again, remember, I'm generally a console gamer first with Nintendo systems and then Sony systems, but I do have a history of some PC gaming. And I was really hoping that this device would sort of cover a bit of that marriage between the two of both console and PC gaming. But one of the things, of course, with the Steam Deck, it was released in February of 2022, and I was not one of the lucky ones that was able to get my pre-order in enough time to be able to get it shipping right away, because of course the Steam Deck pre-orders opened up in the summer of 2021, and I thought I was right on the cusp of getting an immediate pre-order, and my happy self wanted to get the 512 gigabyte model, and I'm betting that was one of the ones that was ordered or pre-ordered quite a bit. So when I say this is 1 year in, it's roughly a year, because while the system released in February 2022, I didn't get mine until about July or August of 2022. So that being said, I've had about a little over a year's time to use my Steam Deck, and I've got thoughts, I got feelings on it. One of the most appealing aspects about the Steam Deck, in my opinion, is really the fact that it can be used as an emulation machine. And again, just a little bit of a preface that, of course, the whole legality of emulation is shaky at best. So, proceed with your own caution, your thoughts. Make sure you know the legality of it if you decide you want to go through this. This is just my experience. So that's pretty much with that. One of the problems that I've had with the Steam Deck and emulation would be with the Dolphin portion of it. Dolphin, of course, is the GameCube and Wii emulator. Now, Valve removed the actual Dolphin app from the Steam shop, and there's a whole bunch of history regarding that. I'm not going to really get into it. So Dolphin really is a manual installation that was done through EmuDeck, but specifically my issue with, and there's quite a few with Dolphin with me. Number one was F0GX. It runs painfully and extremely slow on certain tracks. And I've seen other users have these issues, and they would give their own detailed steps on how to fix that. But unfortunately for me, none of that worked, and unfortunately the slowdown and everything like that is still quite prevalent. Another issue that I noticed with some of the GameCube emulated games in Dolphin through the Steam Deck is the fact that games like Luigi's Mansion, I notice sometimes there are missing polygons where it shows sort of like a creepy look where like it'll show Luigi's face and then his lips or something will disappear for a second, just showing the teeth. There's little stuff like that, little minutia that kind of looks a little weird. So other GameCube games, it's sort of hit and miss. And one of the things with Dolphin 2 is I can't get the Wii games to run properly. I can't get the motion control to work. I can't use the trackpads here because, of course, it's got the two trackpads to be able to do the motion or kind of control it on the screen like I've seen with the PC gaming with the Wii motion, like using the mouse. Can't get that to work. And then controls for the WiiWare games themselves are turned like 90 degrees to 45 degrees depending on the title. So like up would be right would be down, and so on and so forth. And anytime that I try to change it, because I actually can't change it while the game is running itself within EmuDeck, I have to go into the back end through the desktop portion of Steam Deck, So when I attempt to do that, it doesn't save, it doesn't change. So overall, that portion of the emulation with the Steam Deck has been really disappointing. Another thing with the emulation portion that the Steam Deck, this is really interesting, is the individual games. There's a way to set up the Steam Deck so like if you want to have, let's say, Super Mario Brothers appear on your list of games on the titles, you can. And it'll just, you click it, it's like it runs a prompt to run that particular emulated game directly from there, and when you quit out of it, it just brings you right back to the Steam Select. I ran into issues with that, but more like a logistical one. Every single one of those titles, there's like 6 to 7 different pieces of like art that displays for that. So EmuDeck has a prompt that lets the system automatically pull in art if applicable. The problem with this automated search is the file size, like the ROM itself, the file size, and the file title have to match an exact way or a certain way for it to pull the art. And if it doesn't, then it's not going to pull anything, and you have to find that yourself. And trying to find 6 perfectly sized pieces of art to fit that aesthetic, I found that manual process to just be so tedious in of itself. And I've got hundreds and hundreds of games and ROMs and everything like that. Finding like, what is that, 4,800 different ROMs or something, or I'm sorry, 4,800 different pieces of art for the 800 games that I have, for example. Just the level of tedium with that, and trying to add that in, it wasn't worth it. So now I just run the EmuDeck program in of itself, and when I want to play something, I actually use the EmuDeck GUI, the GUI, to be able to load up and pull in games. It's really handy too, because it's alphabetized where it shows all the game titles, and you just hit left and right to pull in which console that you want to actually play. And overall, loading games through emulation like that is a super easy experience. And beyond that, beyond the Dolphin issues that I had, all the games that are runnable on EmuDeck via the RetroArch system do so flawlessly, and they look absolutely fantastic. They control great, and the ability to update and edit controls themselves and permanently save them is really easy. It can be done within the game, within EmuDeck. And it also allows more than 10 save states. Like, that was something I had to get used to, because I'm used to the old Nesticle days where you only had 10 save states, and just kind of wanting to save multiple games. I do wish that the EmuDeck had a rewind feature, kind of like how the Nintendo Switch system has when running its emulated games. I believe it has an option, but I think it has something like warnings about crashing the emulated games or the system. I just figured that it's not that worth the hassle. And again, games look great, especially like Nintendo 64 and Nintendo DS games. I was surprised that generation really looked so well. And even like the PS1 games too. And it just really, this is the emulation handheld. If I could get the Dolphin stuff working well, I would be in heaven. It would be fantastic. Now, the Steam Deck itself is not without its myriad of issues. When I say issues, I'm not talking about anything hardware related. I've had no issues with this guy at all in regards to like the controls or how everything feels, or the buttons, or even the actual physical hardware itself, like motherboard, memory, hard drive, anything like that. When I talk about the issues, it's more it is going to be software related, because again, the hardware and its core pieces are fantastic. Regarding that, one of my biggest problems that I had with the Steam Deck is the Steam Deck dock. And when I connected to my TV, when I first did, one of the things that I had was it worked right away, but kind of stopped working from there. I planned on using the Steam Deck dock with my 8-bit DO controller here, and it kind of works imperfectly. So like I plug this in, I sync it. It then it syncs to like the player 2 spot, and then you just go into the software and you reassign it allows you to reassign and put like this as player 1, and everything works well. But then the problem is I turn it off, and I try to turn it back on, and it either just goes back to a black screen, it doesn't put any video output at all, or it gives a really pretty but frustrating colored like snow look on the TV itself. It's really perplexing. And even after the updates and I reboot the Steam Deck, it still had issues, and I couldn't get it working, and I gave it up as a bad job. And it wasn't until like 6 months after that, like a couple weeks ago, that I finally connected it again to the Steam Deck dock, and of course it works immediately. Yes, until it didn't, and I was running into the same problems again. I looked up online, and this seems like an issue that people have, and one of the individuals that I saw online suggested that I unplug the power plug on the Steam Deck dock and then plug it back in and then power up the Steam Deck, and the last like 3 or 4 times that's worked like a charm. I don't know why that is. I don't know how the donuts are made there, but hey, at least it works. I just wish that the connectivity for that was a lot smoother. Again, something akin to the Nintendo Switch, but again, the Nintendo Switch I think of more like an Android device, because I think software-wise it's based on something like that. So of course it's going to boot in and pop up on a screen without issue. But this again, as a reminder, is a mini PC. It is not like an Android type device. It's a mini PC based off of a Linux software prompt or Linux software. So of course it's going to take a little bit to resync and play on the TV. But again, I kind of wish it was quicker. And I think another issue that I have with the Steam Deck is that I wish it would capture footage, like video footage, because I obviously I have this YouTube channel here and I'd like to capture footage, but I can't. There's no way for it to automatically save 30 seconds of video like you can with the Switch, or save the last 15 minutes of video like you can with the PS4, PS5. But like I know that there are third-party apps and programs that can be ran in the background to do that. And honestly, I wish it was within the UI itself of the Steam Deck, so that I didn't have to worry about that, because the thought of running a third-party program in the background of already doing games and everything like that, I don't want to peter the system out or anything. Now, running games themselves, how do they look? How does it look? As I mentioned, running the emulated games, fantastic, beyond my Dolphin issues. The emulated games look great, they feel great. Even running on the Steam Deck dock, it looks really crisp and quite colorful on the TV. I don't know what it is with that. I noticed even the colors are a little more vibrant for like something like Super Mario Bros. 1 on the TV compared to the Nintendo Switch. I don't know how that works, but that's just kind of what I noted. So I'm playing through the Trails of Cold Steel. It's the Legend of Heroes series by Falcom on the Steam Deck, and it runs flawlessly. There's no load time at all. Of course, it's kind of an older game. I think it's like 8 to 10 years old, but like I'm able to wake it up and put it to sleep in its handheld form without any problems or issues. So that's been fantastic. Doom 2016, I had to do a little bit of changing with some of the performance and graphics settings to be able to, because it was running at like 2 or 3 frames per second. But once I made some of those adjustments, it's 60 FPS flawless. I cannot believe how fantastic Doom looks on the Steam Deck. That's really impressive. Again, though, Doom 2016, 7 years old, so take with that what you will. But again, it was a great looking game then, and it still looks good now, especially on the Steam Deck. Another one of the games, Hi-Fi Rush, that is a very new game, came out a few months ago. It was for Xbox and PC only. I'm so happy this game runs, and that I'm able to play it and that it runs well. And I'm really happy getting into that game, and no slowdown, no issues that I could really notice or see with Hi-Fi Rush. The Ys series, they all run really great. I had some issues getting a couple of these to play on the Steam Deck dock portion of it. I don't know why that is, because they work all fine handheld, but that's been great. And now I have not tried Elden Ring, because supposedly Elden Ring and like Horizon Zero Dawn and Some of the newer or newish games also run on the Steam Deck. I'm really interested to see how current gen games like that run. If I ever, wanting to give that a shot. When the Steam Deck first came out, of course, none of the Halo games worked because of like that anti-cheat system that keeps like multiplayer games from running. To this day, the Halo Master Chief Collection doesn't work that way, but Halo Infinite does. So that's cool, although I feel like Halo Infinite kind of went off a cliff after it was first released, just no real new content or anything. Maybe I could get into that if there's some new stuff, although honestly, maybe it'd be more the Master Chief Collection I would get. Certain games, though, still don't work after over a year of the Steam Deck being out. That includes like Bionic Commando Rearmed. And even after getting updates as recently as in a couple weeks, as well as other DOS-based games like Skyroads and my own Doom 2 mod that I have, still can't get any of those to run. I am hoping that I can download and run Starfield. Hoping I can get that going, but just kind of what I've been seeing online, and especially based on the requirements, it's probably not going to be likely. But I can hope and dream. And when I've been running all of these games, I really haven't had any issues with battery life during the entirety of playing these. I would equivocate the overall battery life of the Steam Deck, kind of what you'd expect for the overall battery life of like a PS5 controller. I usually get anywhere from like 3 to 5 or maybe 4 to 6 hours, because again, I'm not like doing real heavy current gen gaming like an Elden Ring or anything. It's more like RPGs and a little bit of action games like Hi-Fi Rush. Nothing too crazy intensive, so I feel like I'm able to get a bit more battery life out of all of these games. So again, like 3 to 5, 4 to 6 hours. It's been pretty good. Another thing I've heard complaints about with the Steam Deck is the fan, and when it's been running, the fan itself, really I haven't had any issues or anything with it being too loud. The loudest that I've heard it is when it runs Doom 2016, but hasn't really been distracting. It's noticeable, but not distracting. I think of it as a slightly quieter version of the original PS4. Take with that what you will. And again, remember, I'm more of a console gamer, so I'm not really into like a high level of customization. So a lot of the stuff like controlling frames per second or viewing frames per second on the upper right portion of the screen, I don't really use that. Don't really look at that. Every once in a blue moon, in case I'm curious, just to see, I'll look at that. But not worried. It's nice to have all of those settings there, but that's pretty much it with that. Now, would I get myself an Asus ROG Ally or any other portable PC? At this point, no. That's an absolute no, because with the Steam Deck, of course, this is really everything that I need with a portable gaming PC. And really, the ROG Ally itself also is not without its own myriad of issues that I've heard about, such as it being a Windows-based OS system and the various issues that has, or what it has running. Now, I am curious to see what the Nintendo Switch successor is going to be, and see how Nintendo is going to answer to devices like the Steam Deck and all of its competitors that have been coming out since 2017, when the Nintendo Switch had come out. But overall, I would have to say that I am pretty happy with the Steam Deck, though admittedly I've got a little bit of a guilty sense with it because I don't use it as much as I probably should have or like, especially with how much I've invested into it. Again, this is the 512 gig model, and that I believe was $700. And I also put in a 1 terabyte micro SD card, so the 1 terabyte, to my knowledge, is still the maximum that this big guy can handle and hold. So, although it's nice, 1.5 terabytes of gaming right in my hands. Though with games kind of being anywhere from 100 to 150 gigabytes each, well, maybe hey, this can hold 8 to 10 games. Though, who's to say that this guy here can handle those 100 150 gigabyte games? But 98% of my gaming itself still stays with the Nintendo Switch and the PS5, but it's still viable. The Steam Deck is still a viable source for games not available on a Nintendo or Sony system, such as Hi-Fi Rush or games like that. It's also nice too having some of the accessibility that emulation allows with this for games that are not on current gen systems. You see my games that need ports video for a small sample of roughly 50 games that still have yet to be ported to current gen. This allows an out to that. This allows a way to play them and plug it into a TV and maybe kind of deal with some of the Steam Deck dock issues getting that to work. But when all is said and done, like this has been a very reliable way to be able to game on the go. I have already used this twice for travel to be able to play games on the go for both personal and business. I can't recommend it enough. And these are available currently through Valve. You'll be able to get one. I believe they have worked with GameStop to be able to have refurbished models. I'm very cautious about refurbished stuff because even though, like I said, I've never had any issues with any of the hardware that's in this device. Nothing like that. But you really kind of take your fate in your own hands with refurbished stuff. But I mean, that's kind of me. But what do you guys think? Have you purchased a Steam Deck? Or have you thought about getting one? Do you have something like ROG Ally? If you have that, or any of the above, let me know. Let me know in the comments section below. I'd love to have a dialogue with you guys talking about Steam Decks and portable PCs and where that's heading from here, as well as where we see something like the Sony device, the Project Q, where it's literally the halves of the PS5 controller on both sides of the LCD screen. So again, let me know what you think in the comments section below. And of course, please like or dislike the video. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Thanks again for watching and have a great day. Where we see something like Sony with its Project Q device that's literally an LCD screen, but with the halves